Greetings, everyone. This is Rick here from healthybodiesandminds.com. Hope you all are staying healthy and sane. And today, in this video, I'm going to be dissecting 3 different food items right in front of you and show you how the entire food industry, people who are responsible for creating food laws, the food manufacturers themselves, the packaging industries involved, doctors, dietitians, and the internet in general. Well, everyone is trying to sell something or the other, and no one really cares about patient safety and patient well-being. And what's even more important is no one actually gives you the truth. It looks like pretty much everyone is lying. Now, before I get to the food items themselves, I would give you a little bit of a context here, why I am creating this video. You see, my dad actually underwent a cardiac surgery right before the COVID lockdowns. And in his released prescriptions, the doctors and dietitians had mentioned a bunch of different things, which included medicines and also a list of food items appropriate for cardiac patients. These items are supposed to keep him healthy. Now, these food items, well, everyone says they are healthy. The problem is, me being in the clinical writing profession, I started creating problems in the family. I was not happy with the food chart, and everyone else was against me. You see, I'm not a doctor, but at least I know what is what, and that is exactly what this video is going to be about. I'm going to show you that the recommended food items for cardiac patients aren't always heart healthy. Let's get into it. Alright, now my father's prescription had several items in it, and the general idea is a cardiac patient should have a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, a lot of legumes and seeds, and nuts, oats, oatmeal, and lean meats and canned fish and low sugar items and low sodium items. So I'm going to go over some of these items that are generally perceived to be cardiac friendly, heart healthy, and I'm going to take a look at each one of them and show you that they are not really as healthy as we think they are. So the first one in this series is going to be oats, because we're going to be starting with breakfast. And oats was recommended for him because it supposedly is going to absorb those cholesterols and keep his heart healthy. The arteries are going to stay in shape. So there are a couple of different brands available here, but I went for an imported brand, and this brand is imported from Ireland. And I have actually seen this in some other website also, and this has good reviews. What I wanted to really talk about here is, it's okay, I mean, the packaging and everything is fine. First of all, it's imported from Ireland, that's fine, that's great. Scottish milled oats. Since 1880, this is all marketing stuff, loaded with fiber, minerals, vitamins, lower cholesterol. Great. Yes, oats do help in lowering cholesterol. But my problem is, this is milled oats. Now, if you take a look at other brands that are available on Amazon or Walmart or whatever place you buy them from, you would see that the oats are either steel cut or they are rolled or they are milled. Now, milling is basically a process where you remove the outer husk and you expose the inner kernel. In this case, when you remove the outer husk, the inner kernel actually becomes a simple carbohydrate. It's super easily digested, and this has its risks. It is very much capable of causing spikes in blood sugar levels. This is something that should be avoided at all costs, especially for patients who are diabetic. Now, my dad is not diabetic, thankfully. He is a cardiac patient. He's fine now, but this is a problem that I noticed. It's nearly impossible to find oats that's either not milled or, gone through any kind of processing. Now, I do understand that it's impossible to digest oats in unprocessed raw form, but when you have them in milled form, it really exposes the inner soft kernel that becomes a simple carbohydrate, which is super easily digested, and it gives you a spike in blood sugar levels. So this is the first problem for me. Milled oats? No, I wouldn't really like that. And especially if someone is diabetic, this should be avoided at all costs. However, in my dad's case, I decided to keep this. My dad is on a diet of oats. He is having this because he's not a diabetic patient, and it's not going to be causing much of a problem for patients who are not diabetic. So this one is kind of okay for me. Now, let's go on to the next item. The second one is gluten-free bread. Gluten-free, why gluten-free? Well, no one wants gluten nowadays. I'm not going to get into that. But whatever you eat, be it your lunch, your dinner, your breakfast, you need bread, right? Without bread, it's just not going to happen. Your dish is not going to be complete. Now, what people don't talk about is they talk about whether or not it's gluten free and whether or not it's soft enough and stuff like that. But what they don't talk about is what other things are there inside your bread. Now, here is the nutrition value chart for this bread. Let's take a look at this. Calories, I don't care about calories. Calories from fat, well, I would overlook that as well. Cholesterol is fine, it's 0. But what's alarming here is the sodium content. 210 milligrams of sodium. Now, you need to understand that this is per serving. So, 2 slices of bread would have a sodium content of 210 milligrams. You're supposed to eat at least 6 slices of bread in a day, if not more. Most people usually eat more, but let's say, for the purposes of this video, let's just say that someone goes for only 6 slices of bread in a day. So in that case, he would be consuming more than 600 milligrams of sodium just from bread alone. And no one even says this. I mean, this is supposed to be bread. Is it gluten-free? Is it soft? Is it ideal for sandwiches? Is it ideal for snacks? That's what people talk about. Nobody ever mentions anything about sodium. But sodium is a problem for cardiac patients. So this is something that troubles me. Now, this is bread. The next item we're going to talk about is fatty fish. Fatty fish is supposed to be loaded in omega-3 fatty acids, and these are great for cardiac health. They keep your arteries in shape, they remove all the unnecessary cholesterols, bad cholesterols, and they are supposed to keep your heart healthy. But here again, and this one, mind you, this specific product, I'm not blaming any specific product here, but I picked a product based on its reviews. This has fantastic reviews, 5,980 ratings. And this is light tuna in water. It's not even soaked in like some oil or something. There's other varieties. Like, for example, you can see here, this is soaked in sunflower oil. There are other varieties that are soaked in olive oil. But this one is soaked in water. Now, this guy here has a total sodium content. If you can see here, this total sodium content is 300 milligrams, and that is also per serving. Now, imagine this. You are eating fish because you want to keep cholesterols at bay. You don't want those bad cholesterols to harm your arteries. You don't want brittle arteries. You want a healthy heart. And my dad underwent a cardiac surgery. So he needs this. He needs fatty fish. And this fatty fish is going to give him unwanted servings of sodium. And each serving of this fish is going to pump in 300 milligrams of sodium. Now, if you go at this rate, then 3 servings would be close to 1,000 milligrams. And I'm not saying he's going to be eating 3 servings in a single sitting, but most people actually don't go by a single serving. Most people would have 1 or maybe 1.5 or maybe 2 servings. But once again, for the purposes of just this video, let's just say that he goes with 1 serving. So here, with 1 serving of fish, he gets 300 milligrams of sodium, and with 3 servings in a day, in 3 meals, he gets close to 1,000 milligrams. So this is 1,000 milligrams, and the bread that we saw earlier, 3 servings throughout the day would give him 600 milligrams. So that's around 1,600 milligrams of sodium already. Okay, now we are not done yet. There's another one. This one here is lean meat. Lean meat is supposed to be good for cardiac health. It doesn't have the unwanted fats, so it's supposed to be good for your health. Now, once again, this guy here has a sodium content of 680 milligrams, close to 700 milligrams, and that is also per serving. So once again, 3 servings would give him more than 2,000 milligrams of sodium. Whoa, that's great. Now, what you need to understand here is the American Heart Association recommends that cardiac patients should have a total sodium intake of less than 1,500 milligrams in a single day. I'm not talking about a single meal. I'm talking about the entire day. So, in a 24-hour day, you are not supposed to have more than 1500 milligrams of sodium. However, just these three items that we saw here, these alone are giving above 2000 milligrams of sodium. And that, my friends, is very bad for your cardiac health. That is absolutely wrong. Now, these people don't ever mention that lean meat jerky is actually going to be bad for your health because it contains excess sodium. They don't say that canned tuna or canned mackerel or any kind of canned fish that contains a lot of sodium that is actually going to be bad for your health. No one ever mentions that white bread, the stuff that you eat every day, contains a lot of unwanted sodium that's bad for your health. The question is, why is sodium necessary? Well, in simple terms, sodium increases shelf life of food items. So that's their reason. But why don't they tell this to people? Why shouldn't people be aware of this? That's where my question is. Now, I have personally prepared a diet chart for my dad that doesn't contain any of these things. As of now, it looks very balanced, and I have removed everything that the doctors recommended. And frankly, he is healthy. He is healthy now. It's been a few months, but he's healthy now. But I am not giving any of these things to him. So the big question is, what should you do? The first thing is, try to eat fresh. If that means you have to go to Alaska and you have to catch some fish, do that. I mean, seriously, get something fresh. If it's fresh, it's not going to contain sodium. That's number one. The second important thing here is, even if you are forced to buy something online or maybe from your local market and that contains high amounts of sodium, you see, the first problem with sodium is actually something that retains water in the body and it messes up the function of the kidney. On the other hand, potassium, which is also a metal, which is denoted by the symbol K, and sodium is denoted by the symbol Na, potassium is actually going to negate the effects of sodium. So if you can balance it out with potassium, then you are going to be safe. If you take adequate amounts of potassium, and there are a lot of food items that contain loads of potassium, for example, banana. You get a lot of potassium in that. Coconut water, you get a lot of potassium in that. So if you get potassium inside your system and you still have sodium, then it's going to negate the effects of sodium. Potassium is actually going to pull out all that accumulated water and it's going to keep your heart healthy. So that's something that I really wanted to point to you. These food items that everyone says, well, they're supposed to be healthy, well, they are not really telling you the complete truth. So now that you know this, stay away from high sodium food items. Try to get fresh food items. And if at all you have to buy something that is high in sodium content, then compensate that with lots of potassium. Thank you. This is Rick here signing off for now. Let me know in the comments below how you felt about this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you again in my next one.